There we go. So we're live. We are live a little earlier than normal. If you notice, it's 7:30, not 8 p.m. What I want to do while talking to you kids is make sure you're hearing what I'm saying, as we've done for 3 years now. Uh, and you can hear me because I can hear me. See, you see this? That's me in my ear. I know I can be a dork sometimes. So, attitude for gratitude every Friday night. This is where I say 8 p.m. But tonight we've got Rick and Misty in the house. We're going to do some step and tradition talk of 6 tonight. And I know a lot of you guys have been tuning in and re-listening to the show on Sunday. And you can always reach out to my phone number on the bottom if there's something we talk about and you're watching this and we're not live. Feel free to reach out to me about some questions you have, and I can relay them to Rick. We'll get you the answer. Like I've always said, we'll get you the answer. I might not have it right now, but I'll get it for you. We're down here at We'll Work for Recovery, 4026 Washington Avenue North. Every day of the week, we've got something going on. Wednesdays, there's a men's meeting and a women's meeting at 5 p.m. every Wednesday. There are some structured recovery meetings at 6:30 a.m. every day down here. That's in the morning, a.m. And every night at 7 p.m., we've got something going on. We've got the Saturday walk and talk. We've got the spiritual Monday night. Tonight's the call-up meeting. Tuesday is a well-briding meeting, native-based, indigenous people-based meeting. There's something going on every night. Saturdays in the summer, like now, we've got a campfire meeting at 8 p.m. People gather out there after the walk and talk at 7 o'clock, and they have a meeting. Sundays at noon to 3, we do a barbecue. $3, you get yourself a burger, a brat, something to drink, potato chips, potato salad, something. There's always some stuff going on down here. So get involved. Last week we had Mark and Lorraine on the show from Gene Quest, and I just want to thank everybody. I've got a pile of jeans in the corner someone brought up before the show was even over, and we've gotten tons of people that donated jeans. So we really appreciate the outpouring of jeans, and those of you that reached out to me, I'll talk to them about shipping costs and whatnot. I just don't know right now if they're in need that bad that they're willing to take care of shipping and get them out to us. But thank you for the gesture. Like, that's what we do, how we do, and I really appreciate it. Like, the word spreads. Again, Gene Quest, that was these guys here. Go to last week's show, and there's all the information about it. Other than that, there's tons of stuff coming up. We've got the Blast from the Past 80s Bash. Blast from the Past 80s Bash coming up August 9th down here. We'll Work for Recovery. It's a Saturday. They're going to do the walk and talk, and directly after, we're going to get into this event. It's an 80s theme, retro type event with the music and DJ and minnow races and walking tacos. Tons of stuff. There'll be a campfire meeting too. It'll be a good night of fellowship. So come on down and check it out. I think it's $7. No one's going to be turned away. So come show up. If you don't have the money, talk to me. We've got a little scholarship for people that want to do some stuff but just can't afford it. So reach out to me on that. And then August 31st is National Overdose Awareness Day, and they are doing an event down here as well. We'll talk more about that after the 9th, the event for the 9th. So with that, I think we're going to get right into it. Just had to check, make sure that you guys could still hear me. And you can. So I'm going to switch over the camera. We're going to get into it with Rick and Misty. But as always, if you're struggling, feel free to reach out to my number. Call Intergroup. Get on the .orgs, the different sites. But reach out. You don't need to sit in it alone. If you're having self-harm thoughts, things of that nature, dial 988. It's a hotline, 24 hours a day. Matter of fact, I'll pop it on the screen for a second. Use that number if you're dealing with it and you don't know what else to do. Just dial that number. It's 3 easy numbers, and someone will answer and talk to you. All right. I think it's time we get into the show. Oh, one last thing. The Soap of Hope. Chucky Cohen. The Armor of Yah. Soapstone Factory. You guys have seen him. You know him. Guy with the biggest heart in the world comes in here and toots the horn and hands out soap to the guests. Like, that's Chuck. Come on down and get yourself some soap. There's tons of soap down here. Come down, get some soap. Be part of the soap factory if you want. You can help Chucky make soap, or you can watch him make soap. It's a pretty cool experience. Does it out of the kindness of his heart. He's a good guy. Come on down and check all that out. We'll talk recovery. But right now, we're going to talk about some step work and some tradition stuff. Some stuff called solution. We're going to get into some solution talk, which sometimes a lot of these places lack on. You two are on camera now. I'm not anymore, so I can make weird faces. No, I got a new camera mounted up here. So now they can see the both of you without me having to turn the camera back and forth. Bear with me, you guys, while I'm busy. I'm going to put us on TikTok with my phone, blah, blah, blah. You guys, let's get going. What do we want to talk about tonight with our stuff? First and foremost, who are you, young man? Yeah, who are you, young lady?
Misty, I'm an alcoholic.
Welcome back to the show, Misty.
Thank you.
Rick, alcoholic.
Welcome back to the show, Rick. If you guys don't know, Rick, Misty, and I think Jesse too, they do the workshop down at 2218 every Wednesday at 6:30 in the main auditorium down there. Show up, and they do a 4-step workshop. Real quick, can we just talk about that? What can someone expect? Do they need to be there from the beginning? What's involved? Do they need to bring a book? If you guys just
Well, if you got a book, bring a book.
okay.
We have printouts of step 5 that we can give you. And then we also print out the resentment, fear, and sex conduct sheets for them to do inventory. And it's a continuous workshop. You can come in at any time. It's from 6:30 to 7:45, and it just runs through.
All right. That's good. Does it cost money to go to your
Costs
workshop?
nothing.
No.
It's free.
Free.
Okay. And this is at 2218 First Avenue South?
Correct.
All right. Good. Perfect. Get that out of the way. So you guys have been doing recovery for quite a long time. Rick's been on the show for almost since the inception of it. We had him on the show when it was over at 2218, and it just turned into something that he came back once a month, and we usually coincided our talk with whatever month it was in that step. But now we're just keeping up with where we left off last, which is fine by me, and it's fine by them. And I think this is a good thing that we do talk about some solution, some stuff that's out of the book. So what are you holding in your hand? What are we going to start with?
Step 6.
Step 6,
The
baby.
big book first.
All right.
You want me to start?
Yeah. It's on the top of page 76.
Okay. If we can answer to our satisfaction, then we look at step 6. We have emphasized willingness as being indispensable. Are we now ready to let God remove from us all the things which we had admitted are objectionable? Can he now take them all, every one? If we still cling to something we will not let go, we ask God to help us be willing.
That's step 6 in the big book. It's actually pretty good when you get into this a little bit in the 12 and 12 and look back on what he wrote here. Can he now take them all, every one? Well, why, of course, right? That's what I thought. If we still cling to something we will not let go, we ask God help us to be willing.
And at this point of our recovery, we've already been through step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is what's assumed once we get to this point.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's all there is in the big book on it.
One paragraph
Yep.
on step 6 in the big book. Top of page 76.
Now, the 12 and 12, the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book was written, I think it published in 53. Let me take a look here. Yeah, first printing April of 53. Just about on your birthday.
Oh, wait, what did you say? April 23?
You said-
53.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. 1953.
Yeah.
exactly.
So the big book was published in 39. So Bill had about 13 years of experience after the big book when this was written. The 12 and 12 is Bill's book. They're essays on the steps and the traditions. Bill was introducing the traditions, and he wanted the traditions to get into effect in the fellowship because Bob was sick and wasn't going to live much longer, and Bill went on for a bit.
Yeah.
But they introduced the traditions in here, and the traditions are really quite good. They're
Yeah.
fascinating. There's certain stories. They're all based in stories and illustrations, and they're worth looking at. But that's why he wrote the 12 and 12, I think, primarily. But he also had a history of the steps. And step 6, not much in the big book.
And at this point, like you said, 13 years of
Mm.
having an experience with these steps.
Right.
And you said you think it'd be a good idea to look into them. I think, just side note, was tradition. I didn't get into any tradition stuff till quite a while after I had worked the steps with my sponsor. We didn't really get into tradition stuff. The only time we went to this book was on step 6. And that was because it was so short in there. And I don't know if it worked better just because of the timeline of I needed to get through those 12 steps first and have a different head mindset, whatever the case is. Like, you're right. I think it's real important that we get into tradition.
Well, I think you always want to go to the big book first
Mm-hmm.
for any of the steps. And the 12 and 12 is good. But this is Bill's essays.
Right.
This is not written by the fellowship like the big book was. And primarily Bill wrote the big book.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
nevertheless, they straightened them out. They corrected certain things, and the fight was on. So,
But each
especially
one of
with
these steps is, and I guess I've never heard it worded that way, is they're the essays of each step, and what his take on each step is.
That's right.
It's an essay of,
Yeah. Yeah, and this is Bill's book. This isn't written. Nobody else was involved. He was in depression for about 11 years. And this book was written while he was in depression. So when he writes about step 6, I could feel what he was saying because I had a lot of the same things going on that Bill did. So step 6 in the 12 and 12, and it's written, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Why don't we you want to do some reading? We'll see
Sure.
what this looks like, and we'll just stop her if we want to.
we're on page 63. I think it's 63 in all versions of the 12 and 12.
Step 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. This is the step that separates the men from the boys. So declares a well-loved clergyman who happens to be one of the AA's greatest friends. He goes on to explain that any person capable of enough willingness and honesty to try repeatedly step 6 on all his faults, without any reservations whatever, has indeed come a long way spiritually, and is therefore entitled to be called a man who is sincerely trying to grow in the image and likeness of his own creator.
You know, I was listening to you read that, and I was kind of surprised you didn't read it like this. Without any reservations, whatever. That's the Valley Girl
Right.
version.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever. So,
Okay, you want me to go on?
mhm.
Of course, the often disputed question of whether God can and will, under certain conditions, remove defects of character will be answered with a prompt affirmative by almost any AA member. To him, this proposition will be no theory at all. It will be just about the largest fact in his life. He will usually offer his proof in a statement like this. Sure, I was beaten, absolutely licked. My own willpower just wouldn't work on alcohol.
Hmm.
Change of scene, the best efforts of family, friends, doctors, and clergymen got no place with my alcoholism. I simply couldn't stop drinking, and no human being could seem to do the job for me. But when I became willing to clean house and then asked a higher power, God as I understood him, to give me release, my obsession to drink vanished. It was lifted right out of me.
See, that happened to me where I was sick of myself. You got to be sick of yourself. Other people were sick of me long before I became sick of me, which is unfortunate because it caused a lot of heartache for a lot of other people. But nevertheless, it doesn't matter if they're sick of me. I went on for some time after that.
Do you
But
think for you it was the same thing? You became willing. I mean,
no, I couldn't take another bite of my life. I wasn't trying to become willing to have alcohol removed. That's how I came in. I came in on step 6.
right. You shared about that.
Yeah, I was in a treatment center, and I simply said, I'll do anything not to live this way anymore.
Right.
And I meant it. I'd never meant anything more than I meant that at that time. I couldn't take another bite of my life. I'd had it. That was it.
That's why when I asked, and that's kind of a little difference between because his story, he said, but when I became willing to clean house and then asked the higher power, at God as he understood him, to release me of my obsession to drink, it vanished. Ooh.
Yeah, it vanished for me. I had not written any inventory. I had not
Yeah.
looked at any steps. I had not done it. This is pre-AA. I was in a treatment center, you know.
You knew none of the.
I just said,
Yeah.
I can't stand this anymore. No. And it was removed. It was shut off like a switch. It induced an experience when I made that commitment that was very disturbing because I was an atheist, but it was a bright light experience like Bill Wilson's. And I knew something happened to me because at the end of the experience, I knew I was different, but I didn't know what happened, but I knew I was different. And I've never had trouble staying sober since I made this commitment. I'll do anything not to live this way anymore. And it's never come back. I got a lot of history now. So this happened 37 years ago. No urges, no desire. Not only was the compulsion to use removed, but the compulsion for the lifestyle. The illegal,
Every aspect, yeah.
All the stealing. I'd been in and out of courtrooms, in and out of jail cells. That really, I just couldn't stand it. And I had just spent 2.5 days hiding in the ceiling of the Social Security office from the cops because I was burglarized in the Social Security office. And I got out of there, I was seen leaving, and I was worried about that. I had quite concerned, fingerprints all over the place. I thought they were going to drag me out of the treatment center. But I went in there in a sense to hide out.
Right.
But after a couple, 3 weeks of going through withdrawals, actually it was about a month of withdrawals because a week on the streets, off all kinds of drugs, barbiturates, Tuinol, aminobarbital, Seconal, those are downers, codeine, codeine, just straight codeine pills. I knew a guy gave me bags of codeine, and Valium. I'm eating Valium, so I'm coming off all that stuff at the same time. So it was not pleasant.
Yeah.
It was absolutely insane. But that wasn't the problem. It was all the lifestyle.
The ripping and running.
It was constant jail, constant courtrooms, constant hawking my stolen stuff to pay attorneys I don't like, over and over and over, and I couldn't not do it because I was caught. So when I said that, and I meant it, and I still mean it, I'm not going back. Now, the old timers at 2218, I used to say that to them, because I grew up at 2218 with that second generation of drunks. They sobered up in the 50s and in the 60s.
Right.
These are the guys. They were 30 years sober when I walked in, a lot of them. 20 years, 30 years. And I sat down in those rooms and I, it was an incredible experience. I'd say things like, unconscious of probably how it sounded, but they're talking a day at a time and all that sort of
Right.
thing. And I said, I'm done. And they'd say, you shouldn't talk that way.
But you knew.
I knew it was over. How do you know when the party's over? You just do. I don't know how you know. I know that it was over for me.
Right.
And I think they were right. In most cases, you probably shouldn't talk that way, but it wasn't an issue for me.
Most cases, people aren't walking in having that experience of losing their desire to use anymore.
I was entirely ready to have it removed, and it was removed. And it's never come back. Ever. Gone. No urges, nothing.
Yeah.
Nor has that desire for that lifestyle returned.
I know we've talked about you and your concept of a God or what have you, and I know I beat this to death with you. What do you credit that to?
What?
Losing that desire. Because what you just shared about thousands upon millions
the
of,
commitment I made.
so you credit it to you making a commitment.
I made a commitment with a power greater than myself that I didn't believe in.
You guys hear what he said, right? It almost sounds oxymoronic if you don't know what we're talking about. Because
I didn't believe at that point. I
Yeah.
simply couldn't stand my life. It's a bottom. It's a emotional bottom.
we understand, but you see where someone who's hears this, okay, I don't believe in, let's just for argument's sake, God. I don't believe in God. So something, I know God took it away, but I don't believe in him. But that's what happened.
It was a commitment. Look, the commitment carried me when I didn't believe. Okay?
Okay.
The commitment, if my sobriety was dependent on belief, I wouldn't have been able to stay sober. Okay? But my sobriety has been dependent on the commitment that I made, and belief came later.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't come through concepts either, or believing like other people believed. That's a different story.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's also when I said, like, how many people out there, I say they wish they could have. That'd been awesome if I could have lost that. Do you think you would have stayed this? I'm going way off track. Do you think you would have stayed sober and clean without the program? I know we don't know because you didn't, but you see what I'm saying? You lost the desire.
Yes, I do.
But without you
I do.
Yeah. But would you have been a
So
miserable
why did I go
prick?
to AA?
Yeah.
Why would I go to AA then?
Come on.
So I'm in a treatment center. There are guys bringing meetings into the treatment center. When I drank with guys.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't
Okay.
chasing skirts all the time.
Yeah.
We were just drinking with each other, talking shit, talking about business, talking about different ways to make money, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's drinking with the boys. I was a guy's guy.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, when I came into the program, these guys were bringing meetings into the treatment center. I liked the relationships with the guys. Okay. I liked the guys who were coming in, and they were putting on meetings, and I got connected with them. I went to AA because of that. I knew AA worked because my dad stayed sober with it. But that's not why I went to AA, because it was shut off. I didn't need to go to AA to not use.
I like this. Yeah. So the fellowship, the friendships, the connection, that's
Yeah.
what drew you in. And
I was avoiding the steps because I didn't believe. Even though I had a Jesus Christ spiritual experience, 3 weeks sober in a treatment center, I didn't believe. I just rejected it. It literally was a Jesus Christ experience.
right.
I couldn't handle it. I didn't like it. I was a militant atheist. I wasn't interested. I hated the Christians. I had judgments toward them. I was abusive to the Jehovah Witnesses when they'd come to the door. I was rude. I was just mean with it. I'm not proud of that. That's just a fact,
Yeah,
you know?
that's what it is.
But that's why I ended up going to AA. And I saw that I was in a lot of conflict and a lot of pain from my past experiences. So I sat down in those meetings with these old timers, and they didn't have the same pain that I was experiencing. They had the same experiences, but they weren't caught with the pain. And it's going around the room and they're telling stories about things that are killing me, and they're not burdened by it. And I thought, how did you get from where I am to where you are? Well, that opens the door to the steps. They talked about the big book. They talked about doing the steps out of the big book. So I opened the big book, the chapter 5, and I did the inventories. That's really
That's where
that's how it started for me. I didn't come in here. I wasn't looking for a transformation or a spiritual experience or anything. I was looking for relief from the pain of my mind at some point, because waves will roll over you when you sober up. All kinds of stuff will come in, and it's a nightmare if you don't have a program of recovery to deal with it. So I really came in on step 6. I was entirely ready to have it removed.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that it would be removed by a power greater than myself or anything. Didn't matter if I understood it. It mattered that I made the commitment.
Right. And I know and not to take your thunder, and I don't know if you're going to get to this, but I know you shared in the past about during these times, another big part for you was noticing, I don't know if it was service work or going to the meetings, how you felt the depression or feeling down.
Well, I was depressed because
But-
I'd lost
yeah.
my family.
Right.
Pam took the kids and left when I was 2.5 months sober, and I was depressed. It was situational depression, you
Mhm.
know. But I was depressed about my life. I'd lost the house we were living in. I had $50,000 equity in that one house.
Mhm.
That was back in the 1980s. That's a lot of money back then.
That's about 400 grand a day.
Well, whatever it
comes to
is, I got to
house.
tell you, it wasn't pleasant, man.
Right.
And I lost that place. I lost the family. Pam took the kids and left. Had 2 boys, 4 and 6 years old. So I was depressed. That's why I started. And I saw that these old timers in the meetings had these experiences, but they weren't heavy.
Right.
They were lighthearted. So clearly something changed that for them. So I thought, well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't force myself to believe the way other people believed. I did these steps. I went through the inventory and everything long before I came to believe. In fact, I didn't do it with a sponsor. I met my sponsor after I had done this work. I was 6 months sober when I met Joseph. He's 25 years older than I was. You know, that, and we came together. It was like the parting of the Red Sea.
Right.
I mean, it was just an incredible experience. And I mean to tell you, we were made for each other.
Yeah,
You
shared.
could match our lives right down the line.
Yeah.
Only he was 25 years ahead. Same
Yeah.
insane
Yeah, you
communist
shared. Yeah.
training, same atheist crap, same holding court while you're drinking and using, you know. He was doing it in the bars with Mayor Latimer. He knew Latimer. He was drinking with him. He said if there was anybody that could have got him back to drinking, it would have been Latimer. He said, I had to stay away from him. That's what he told me.
And you said it was uncanny, just like the similarities.
But neither one of us were baptized. We both sobered up at 35 years old. I mean, it's just uncanny. We were both the youngest in the family. We both had a parent that died when we were teenagers. It was his dad and it was my mother. I mean, you could match. We both sobered up at 35 years old.
Yeah.
Neither one of us baptized.
Meant to be.
Raving atheists, raving communists. Oh, yeah. Right down the line. It was just astonishing how we were like each other, you know? So it was him and I really had a tremendous experience together. But he didn't teach me the program. I taught myself the program.
Hey, you said that.
Yeah. Nobody spoon fed it to me. I wouldn't have put up with it. I wouldn't have sat there and listened to somebody trying to force me to believe the way they
Right.
believed. Right?
You came to believe in
There's
your
no
own.
way I would do it, you know? So, but I did come in on step 6. This was the thing. And I did enter into a commitment with God, and I didn't believe in him.
That's awesome. I
Well,
think
it's-
that's awesome.
I've never heard anybody else talk this way.
I haven't.
You know, but
That's why I always beat this to death whenever you bring it up.
but I don't know. You know, I'm not talking
No,
this way to be unique. It's just what
You're
happened.
telling that's Rick's story. That's just what it is. And every time, that's why I know I know I beat it to death with you. And I know I've had you retell it to me so many times, but to me, it's just not. I think on one hand, yeah, of course, I came into these rooms and I wanted to be done. Otherwise, I wouldn't have came in. I mean, and that's not how it is for everyone. Some it's court ordered or trying to get the family back, whatever. But it had happened. That experience had happened to you. So by default, you did come in on 6.
I did.
You know,
In fact, and then I came in on 7 too, because 6 and 7 could be reversed.
right?
I didn't look at my character defects. I just knew I didn't want to live that way anymore. I wasn't thinking about character defects or anything. And I wasn't asking God to remove the character defects. I was just asking myself. I was talking
Yeah.
to myself. I'll do anything. And then the anything started showing up in 12-step work, opportunities to put on meetings, and I just never stopped. I didn't intend all that. I didn't expect my life would go in the direction it's gone in. I didn't. I didn't expect any of it. So lots of things have happened. How about you?
For me, I don't think I was willing when I came. I think the experiences of doing the steps, then I became willing, but I wasn't willing in the beginning. I just was doing it to get people off my back. I was in AA.
There you go.
Yeah, I was in AA for that, and I went through the steps really quickly, thinking, okay, then I graduate and I can go back to drinking. And that's why I did it. And so I did the steps very quickly, and I didn't have any experiences. But then I started getting uncomfortable with myself, with the cravings, and it became different to me once
you came through.
Mhm.
So you caught a message somewhere along the line.
And then doing the steps, then I became willing.
And that's what we hope for. Sometimes, like come in, hopefully you might catch a message if you came in for court reasons or to get the family off your back or to get the family back. Or, the one guy, he came in and said, I'll show you guys are wrong. I'll give you 6 months of my life.
Mm-hmm.
That was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the story. Like, buckle up. Hopefully you don't leave for the miracle app, all those sayings, whatever.
Yeah, I had my relapse on after I got a 6-month chip because I was like, okay, I did it. Now I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was the worst experience I had drinking ever. And
Yeah, AA reps are drinking.
yeah, it did.
Those old guys used to say that. There was a guy named Gene Olson, and Gene was a hell of a guy. He really took me under his wing, But Gene used to tell guys that come in off the street. See, there wasn't the treatment centers like there is today, but they'd come into our meeting, and I remember one time Gene's looking at this guy, and he knew he wasn't ready. He wasn't that interested. He says, "Look, if you're not serious about this, get the hell out of here, because you will never drink comfortably again. You're done. Get out of here till you're willing and ready to do this." They weren't trying to sober people up who weren't interested at all. That's the way those guys were. Gene had a lot of great ideas. He used to say things like, we'd be in the meeting and he'd say, "I don't understand why you guys always say don't take other people's inventory." We were talking about that in the meeting. It was a topic meeting. He says, "I think you should take everybody's inventory. And when you get done, sign your name to it."
Yeah.
Because you can't see in others what's not in you.
Tell them. Yes.
And if it disturbs you, you still got the guilt
You definitely.
and the self-hatred.
You shined that light on me a few years ago. If you see it, you got it type of deal.
Yeah, if you spot it, you
Spot
got
it,
it.
you got it.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
it rings true. Anyone
Mm.
listen, think back to when someone's saying something, if it really irks you, just like Rick shared about with someone with theft, with something that really gets to me today. It's usually something I have to work on.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But all right.
Yeah.
So why don't we just read a couple more paragraphs here, and then I want to maybe jump ahead. We'll see.
In AA meetings all over the world, statements just like this are heard daily. It is plain for everyone to see that each sober AA member has been granted a release from this very obstinate,
Obstinate.
and potentially fatal obsession. So, in a very complete and literal way, all AAs have been entirely ready to have God remove the mania for alcohol from their lives. And God has proceeded to do exactly that.
See, if you keep in mind too, when they, now this is the 12 and 12, but when they wrote the big book in 1938, published in 39, you know,
Mhm.
they had Bill had the most sobriety, close to 4 years. But when in the early couple sections of the big book, half the fellowship, the first 100 people,
Mhm.
at 4 years in, were still atheist and agnostic. Half of them.
Hmm.
So, does that mean you have to come to believe before you can do this?
Absolutely not.
No.
You just shared about you.
Well, you don't have to believe anything. But it helps if you take some action.
Having been granted a perfect release from alcoholism, why then shouldn't we be able to achieve the same means a perfect release from every other difficulty or defect? This is a riddle of our existence, the full answer to which may be only in the mind of God. Nevertheless, at least a part of the answer to it is apparent to us.
You know, so this can work on other character defects, but what if I don't want to get rid of them? What if I like them?
Is it a deep? Yeah.
You can say intellectually, well, I don't really like that I gossip with anger about people, but I do like the payoff. Here, maybe we should jump over to page 65. At in the middle where it says, if we ask.
If we ask, God will certainly forgive our derelictions, but in no case does he render us white as snow and keep us that way without our cooperation.
Oh, there you go. Without our cooperation.
This is something we are supposed to be willing to work towards ourselves. He asks only that we try as best we know how to make progress in the building of character.
Yeah, assuming you're interested in building character. I wasn't. I didn't care about that. Not when I was using.
So step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character, is AA's way of stating the best possible attitude one can take in order to make a beginning on this lifetime job. This does not mean that we expect our own character defects to
all our character defects.
Mean that we expect all our character defects to be lifted out of us as the drive to drink was. A few of them may be, but with most of them, we shall have to be content with patient improvement. The key words entirely ready underline the fact that we want to aim at the very best we know or can learn.
Yeah, a few of them may be, but most of them we shall have to be content with patient improvement. Now, why is that? We'll talk about that. That's an important idea.
How many of us have this degree of readiness? In an absolute sense, practicality, nobody has it. The best we can do with all the honesty that we can summon is to try to have it. Even then, the best of us will discover to our dismay that there is always a sticking point, a point at which we say, "No, I can't give this up yet." And we shall often tread on even more dangerous ground when we cry, "This I will never give up." Such is the power of our instincts to overreach themselves. No matter how far we have progressed, desires will always be found which oppose the grace of God.
So what are those desires? Self desires, desires that Rick wants,
Ego desires.
ego desires. I want what I want. And we shall often tread on even more dangerous ground when we cry, "This I will never give up." I just won't, I'm not going to give this up. Such is the power of our instincts to overreach themselves. Isn't that an interesting way of saying that? So, this gets better or worse, depending on if you like this.
Yeah.
Some who feel they have done well may dispute this. So let's try to think it through a little further. Practically everybody wishes to be rid of the most glaring and destructive handicaps. No one wants to be proud that he is scorned,
So proud.
so proud that he is scorned as a braggart, nor so greedy that he is labeled a thief. No one wants to be angry enough to murder, lustful enough to rape, gluttonous enough to ruin his health. No one wants to be agonized with the chronic pain of envy or to be paralyzed by sloth. Of course, most human beings don't suffer these defects at these rock bottom levels.
Well, I did. I felt all of these things at those levels. He says, this is our most glaring defects he's talking about. But think about this. No one wants to be so proud that he is scorned as a braggart. You ever thought about that? So much pride that I'm just bragging all the time. Nor so greedy that he is labeled a thief. Well, I was a thief all my life. I never thought of it as I was greedy, but that's what it was. I wanted your stuff. I wanted what I wanted, and I would take it. No one wants to be angry enough to murder. You ever been angry enough to murder? I was going to murder a guy. I literally was setting it up. I was premeditating a murder of a guy right before I got sober. And I was on the edge, man. I remember thinking to myself, these guys aren't going to do this shit to me anymore. I'm going to get even. And I was doing things that were really outside the boundaries. I could have easily gone to jail, and I could have easily murdered somebody. I was at that point in my life. So no one wants to be angry enough to murder. Well, I know what that feels like. Lustful enough to rape. See, they changed this in the new 12 and 12. They changed Bill's wording on this. It's really sickening what they did, because it took away the impact of the message. But I want to read this. No, lustful enough to rape. What does that mean? Well, I remember as a teenager, testosterone is just driving me, man. And I'm uncomfortable. I'm angry. I'm reactive. I'm just angry. I don't even know what I'm angry about. It was the testosterone that was just cooking in my body. 12, 13 years old. I remember riding around the lakes on my bicycle, looking at the girls on the blankets and in the swimsuits and things. And I'm just driven because I want to have sex, and I've not had sex. So I want, I'm just driven toward it. I got to tell you, as sickening and sad as this sounds, it's actually true. I could have grabbed one of those women at some point if I would have let my consciousness go enough to do an act like that. I know what he's talking about here. It's ugly, but it's true.
Yeah, I know many of you guys listening understand what Rick's talking about.
Guys understand this because they know what that's like. But lustful enough to rape. I understand that. Gluttonous enough to ruin his health. In other words, I'm drinking or overeating or overdoing whatever I'm doing. And actually, it's ruining my health.
Right.
I'm smoking until I get cancer. I'm, lung cancer or something or other emphysema. Bill Wilson died of emphysema. He couldn't quit smoking. Read some of his history.
Right.
The guy was a constant smoker. He'd quit all the time, but he was smoking other people's cigarettes all the time. He was bumming cigarettes all the time. He could not quit. Ended up with emphysema. It killed him. 76 years old, I think he was when he died. Emphysema is not pleasant. That's
You can't
gluttonous.
Especially back then.
Oh, gluttonous enough to ruin your health. That's exactly what that is. Or you're drinking to a point where you got your liver's going and you can't stop, or you won't. No one wants to be agonized by the chronic pain of envy or to be paralyzed by sloth. What is the chronic pain of envy? Well, I had an experience with that too. It's kind of like a memory in my mind that's like a snapshot in time. When I was in my 20s, I remember it. It's just like a first drink experience. I'm driving around the lakes with Pam, the mother of my kids. We don't have any kids yet. We just met. I'm drinking all the time. I always got a 6-pack of beer between my legs.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how much beer it took to drive from Minneapolis to St. Paul and back, or to Duluth and back. I'm serious.
Right.
I actually thought about trips as how many beers it would take.
How far away is that? About 4 beers.
No, that's seriously. And you got to get back too, I'm dead serious. I thought in those terms. Well, we're driving around the lake. In fact, it was Lake of the Isles. And we are coming off of Lake Street or near where Lake Street is, going around the lake. And I remember the house, big house, huge windows. It's dusk, twilight. I'm with Pam. I can see the piano, the big grand piano in the window, and the lights are on, beautiful furnishings. And I'm driving by and I had this sick feeling in my guts. I want what they got in the worst way.
Mm-hmm.
I made a decision to go after it at that point. I can tell you, and Bill was like this too, that the need to achieve destroyed his life. And it did mine too, because that need to accomplish and make a lot of money and get a lot of stuff and have a big house and have a great looking wife and, all this stuff.
All the things.
All the things. And I got to tell you, that drive was with me, and I ruined my relationships with it because I was driven that way.
Right.
That was the focus. And Pam and I lived together. I forced her to move we had a nice little house. She was not good enough for me. Got to get the bigger house next door. So I bought the bigger house next door. Had a chance. Moved into that one. Fixed it all up. She's living in a mess all the time. Got to get the bigger house. Now I bought another one. Traded that house. I was fooling around with real estate. Going from house to house. Always a bigger house. And it was always living in a mess. And we got kids. And it was a pain for her.
You're just burning shit down around you to get further. They're not even the damage,
thinking about it, not even considering what she's going through or what she wants. Didn't have a sense of it at all. I wasn't bad. I was just simply unaware. And that's the way I lived. So when I read these things like, no one wants to be agonized by the chronic pain of envy, that's exactly what that was. Or to be paralyzed by sloth. Sloth is procrastination.
Yeah,
We know what that is.
I'm doing it right now.
Of course, most human beings don't suffer these defects at these rock bottom levels. I did. I knew exactly what Bill was writing. He was depressed when he wrote this stuff. He knew exactly what the human nature was. He was brilliant in his writing. So now you say, well, I'm not like that. I'm not angry enough to murder or lustful enough to do. No, of course. Okay. Here, read on. We'll take care of that one.
We who have escaped these extremes are apt to congratulate ourselves. Yet can we? After all, hasn't it been self-interest, pure and simple, that has enabled most of us to escape? Not much spiritual effort is involved in avoiding excesses, which will bring us punishment anyway. But when we face up to the less violent aspects of these very same defects, then where do we stand?
Okay. Okay. So now you haven't experienced it at that level. Well, why? It doesn't take a lot of spiritual growth to avoid these excesses. Why? Because you go to jail.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you'll go to jail if you rape someone. You're going to go to prison probably if you murder someone.
Consequences keep us from going over that ledge, but we're there.
No, and I think, well, I'm such a spiritual giant, you know. I didn't think that way. I did. Oh, really?
Oh, shit. I had terrible thoughts before I walked in these rooms.
Mhm.
And even in early recovery.
So now we're going to look at the less violent aspects of these very same defects. The less violent now we're going to look at the lesser of it. Okay. Then where do we stand? Okay, let's see where we stand now.
Now we must recognize now,
No, what we must.
or what we must recognize now, is that we exult in some of our defects. We really love them. Who, for example, doesn't like to feel just a little superior to the next fellow, or even quite a lot superior?
Yeah, you ever
Right.
felt like you wanted to be superior to other
back,
people,
yeah.
you know? I'm not like that dumb son of a gun over there, you know? Oh, yeah? Yeah, I want to feel superior. It's
Isn't
really
it?
sickening.
Oh. Isn't it true that we like to let greed masquerade as ambition?
Yeah. I'm greedy. I'm really greedy,
Yeah.
but it masquerades as
Yeah.
ambition.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
he's
trying to
just-
get, yeah.
Ambitious. No, I was greedy. I remember when I was doing a lot of crystal meth because I was trying to build my empire.
Right.
And Pam's parents and stuff, you know, I looked pretty good at first, you know,
Mhm.
because I'm working all the time and, you know, yeah, look at how ambitious he is. It was greed that was driving me. It was nothing but
Right.
greed. Yeah, I know all about these.
To think of liking lust seems impossible. But how many men and women speak of love with their lips and believe what they say so they can hide lust in a dark corner of their minds?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's really lust. I just want sex. But you speak love with your lips and you believe it. You believe you're in love.
Right. I
But
believe
what
I'm
is it
oppressed.
really? I just want to satisfy myself. And I don't care about you. I just want what I want. Nice, huh? Isn't that a nice one to think about?
And even while staying with conventional bounds,
Within conventional bounds.
even while staying within conventional bounds, many people have to admit that their imaginary sex excursions are apt to be all dressed up as dreams of romance.
Wow. How about that one, huh? And even while staying within conventional bounds, what are they talking about? The conventions of society, what's normal for society, even staying within the conventions of society. Many people have to admit that their imaginary sex excursions, their sex excursions, are apt to be all dressed up as dreams of romance. I'll tell you, I used to do that. Something I'm proud of.
No,
it's just
but
a fact.
I think a lot of people can relate.
Well,
And
here's
looking back on it, if I want to be honest with myself, if I want to be honest with self, that's what a lot of it was.
I love music. Always have.
Yeah.
Okay. I bought great stereo gear. I've got professional stereo
Yeah.
gear right now that's just as good as anything that you, I mean, it's just accurate. It's very good quality. Spent a lot of money on this stuff.
Yeah.
It had value in another way, not only in the enjoyment of listening to it because I liked it. I loved it.
Look what I
But
got.
it was, well, it wasn't
Status.
even that as much as it was you meet a gal, you bring her home. Now I had a little house, had a fireplace, had a nice oriental rug on the floor, light the fire, bring her back from the
Street.
bar,
Yeah.
you know, from the what?
Street.
No, it was
From the
different.
bar,
It was a
whatever.
different game back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it is today. But, you know, you'd meet her in the bar, you'd bring her back home, you know, and you'd set it up, put the music on.
Yeah.
You know what
The whole
albums,
facade,
you know what albums to play, you know, the ones with the
Little Al Green.
sexual,
Yeah.
well, Al Green wasn't my thing, but, you know,
Ah.
I wasn't that way, but
But yeah, okay, you're setting the mood, but
you set the mood, you put in lighting. I love lighting
Yeah.
too. You light it properly. See, that's a big deal. Okay. You got an atmosphere going.
candles. Yeah.
You bring out the bottle of Henry Marchant champagne. It was a New York State champagne. Very good champagne without spending a lot of money. I'm serious. It was good.
Yeah, the whole thing.
So I'd bring
Wow,
Henry
yeah.
Marchant champagne out and get the glasses going, light the fire, put the music on. Many people have to admit, even while staying within conventional bounds, okay, you're staying within the bounds of society, right? Many people have to admit that they're imaginary sex excursions. That's what that was. It was a sex excursion.
Right.
Are apt to be all dressed up as dreams of romance. Was it romance? Maybe there was an element of it. Okay. But I got to tell you, it was about sex. It was about getting sex.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm proud of, but I'm honest
No,
about
but
it.
that's what it was.
I know.
That's
It is what it is, you know?
I don't want to say I'm not shameful of it, but that's just, and I don't want to blame society, but that's what it was. I don't know how to explain.
It's the game.
That's what it was. I was awesome. If we ended up in a relationship, cool, but this was about,
And
you
it
know,
wasn't
I
even
mean-
necessarily looking for the relationship, you know? Just wanted to have sex. That's all. Got to play the game.
yeah, no, I get it. And that's looking back on a lot of it. The goal was to let's bed them down. The goal was to get with a woman. It was to be with her sexually. It wasn't to find a girlfriend. You know?
That's right. That's why you know,
That's why they call it pick them up. Like you're picking
Yeah,
them
it
up.
wasn't to pick them up and to be honest with them and real with them and just show them a
It was
good
a night of
time.
fun.
It was
well, there was that too. I'm not going to say it didn't have that element of it, because it had that element too. Okay. But it really, if you get real honest, you know, Sigmund Freud talked about everything boils down to sex. He's talking about the human ego. Okay. That's why, what's that? That's why you want to have the great music.
yeah.
That's why you want to have the nice lighting. That's why you want to have a nice house, a nice car. This is from a male perspective now. Okay. And this is the dance that guys do, and they use it to manipulate and to get what they want. So money is a big deal around this.
yeah.
And the women, they're playing it the other way. Well,
What am I gonna get?
so he's going to take care of me.
Yeah.
We'll get married. We'll live a big house. We'll live in luxury. Well, and then all he does is leaves leaves her, never calls her back. But the desire of the women, they got the same crap going on a different scale, you know, a different side of it.
See, and you know what?
Same
Like
character
someone
defects.
who really enjoyed that, like I don't blame recovery for that not being the case, but now I'm honest.
Yeah.
Recovery's gotten me to a point where now I'm honest, and I'm honest with self. And not that I look at self, but I get to be with me at the end of the night. I get to be with my head at the end of the night. And when I wrong someone or I'm doing something for not the right reasons, I don't like living that way anymore. And it's not because of recovery, but once I'm now in recovery, I have a clear head, a clear conscience, and I like it feels better to do the right thing. I'm not wording it properly, but
I wouldn't even say the right thing, because what's right for you is wrong for somebody else.
that's why
I would say you see, the big book does this as selfish. Is it selfish or not? Now it's not judgmental. Is what I'm doing, am I trying to get something,
Right.
or am I trying to give something? I wasn't always taking in these situations,
So you were, yeah.
but there was always that behind it, you know?
No, and you're right. I think a lot of it comes down to not situate, but each person. What's selfish for you might not be selfish for me.
Oh, I think so.
You think it's selfish is the same across the board.
Oh, yeah. If you're taking, you're selfish. If you're trying to get something, you're not considering other people. You just want what you want. That's why the big book uses that term instead of good or bad, right or wrong. Is it selfish or not?
You're right, because it does. Like if I know I'm doing something that makes you feel good, but I'm doing it selfishly, it's so selfish.
Yeah, maybe I want you to feel good so I can get what I want.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
I get it.
You got to go?
No, Rachel's phone was ringing. I'm covering for another.
Did you steal
attorney.
someone's phone again?
No, I'm covering.
So
for
now,
attorney
now
phone.
remember, now we're talking about the less violent aspects of these very same defects of angry enough to murder, greedy enough to be labeled a thief, lustful enough to now
Right.
gluttonous enough. Now these are the less violent aspects
Yeah.
of them. Okay, so look at where this goes. It gets worse.
Self-righteousness, anger.
Self-righteous anger.
Self-righteous anger also can be very enjoyable.
Isn't that something? Really? It's enjoyable.
In a perverse way, we can actually take satisfaction from the fact that many people annoy us, for it brings comfortable feeling of superiority. Gossip. What?
You like that one?
I know that's. I looked at you at that one, and I.
Feeling of
She's
That's
talking
my
about being
favorite.
annoyed a lot. You know?
I'm always annoyed. I don't use it as much anymore because I realize what it is. But wow, that was my word. Everyone, I wasn't mad at anyone. I didn't not like anyone. I was just annoyed. You're annoying me. You're annoying me.
Everybody's annoying. her.
Yeah, there's just
Here.
anyone that bothered
So
me.
think
was
about what
annoying.
he's saying. You know, these sentences, I read that many times and I just couldn't quite grasp what Bill was talking about. I had trouble with these sentences. I don't know if I was just so mentally ill from what I did to my mind,
Right.
but when he says self-righteous anger, okay, so now I'm absolutely righteous.
valid
in my,
reason to be upset.
absolute valid.
Valid reason.
Okay, can be very enjoyable. It's enjoyable. Think about that. In a perverse way, we can actually take satisfaction from the fact that many people annoy us. That many people annoy us. I'm not like that guy. I'm not like those people. I'm not like that group. I don't talk that way. I don't. Oh, yeah. For it brings a comfortable feeling of superiority. I feel superior. So there's a payoff. I feel superior to you.
So the self-righteous anger part of this, that example of I'm not like them, where's the anger though part of that?
They're bad.
Okay.
They're
are.
wrong. They're
So
evil. They're whatever.
I'm angry
an
over
asshole.
that. Like I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put myself in a position where I felt this way and thought this way. Because for
And
me,
then-
I have to paint pictures to figure this one out and put myself in these positions to understand what we're talking about here.
Yeah. You ever hear yourself talking about those? Oh, I'm not like those
Yeah.
Republicans.
Yeah.
I'm not like those Democrats. I'm not like, oh, on and
You know
on
what?
and on.
You're
I'm not
absolutely
taking
right.
a side.
I've done that. You know what? I've done that with recovery. I'll get frustrated with certain people I surround myself with in certain fellowships, and then I go back to they're drug addicts. They're mental health. Their head's not screwed on as well as mine.
I'm not like them.
I'm not like them.
I'm superior.
I'm
Or
superior.
brings
someone
it
that screws you
comfortable.
over, like they screw you over on
Yeah.
whatever
Same
a
example,
deal.
yeah. And I co-sign it off as I'm not like them.
Brings a comfortable feeling of superiority. A perverse way we can actually take satisfaction from the fact that many people annoy us. Why? Because it brings a comfortable feeling of superiority. I feel superior. That's why I like it. Are you going to ask to have that removed when you like it? Here comes one that's worse.
Gossip barred with our anger, a polite form of murder by character assassination, has its satisfactions for us too. Here we are not trying to help those we criticize. We are trying to proclaim our own righteousness.
All right. Now think about this one. This one I read. I'll never forget it. I'm sitting in bed. I'm writing inventory and stuff, and I'd written some 4-step, and I got somewhere with that, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting up in bed, and I'm reading this. I'm going through this, and I read this one: gossip, barbed with our anger. Now, how many times have I been angry about something and gossiping about someone who did it? Okay. Gossip, barbed with my anger. Is it really a polite form of murder? Oh, that's a rough word, isn't it? Murder.
Mhm.
A polite form of murder by character assassination. I'm assassinating the guy's character.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it is. And it has its here it comes again. And it has its satisfactions for us too. And what's the payoff? Here we are not trying to help those we criticize. We are trying to proclaim our own righteousness. Here again, I'm trying to pull you down and build myself up. Self-righteous anger again, or gossip, barbed with our anger. How many times have you gossiped about somebody that you're angry at? You weren't trying to help. You were just trying to slander them and make yourself feel superior somehow.
Yeah.
But you know what you do? You look like a lunatic. You look
Get
at
someone to
yourself
agree with me and see it the way I trying to explain the story.
and you're mean. You're just mean.
Yep.
But there's a payoff, isn't there? A polite form of murder by character. Is that what that is? You see, as long as you don't look at the stark ugliness of that character defect, you won't do anything about it. You know why? Because you get a payoff from it. And you don't want to let it go. So I don't want to look at how ugly it is.
Right.
What Bill is doing here is pulling the covers on character defects. And he's putting it in a way. This is some of the most brilliant writing psychologically. He's putting it in a brilliant way so that you can relate to it. Because everybody's been guilty of this stuff at some level, at some time.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah, no, I have.
Now, as long as I don't look at it as murder by character assassination, then what can I do? I can just keep doing it because it's
Right.
not that bad.
Right.
But it is that bad. Now, once you look at this, you go, oh, okay, I see what it is now. Does that stop you from doing it?
No.
Not necessarily.
No, not always.
But I'll tell you what, you don't do it without awareness from this point.
And that's just like the drink. To me, it's just like what we brought up, like AA wrecked my drinking. Well, shit like this.
Wrecks your behaviors,
Yeah.
Mhm.
your
That's-
ugly
yeah.
behaviors.
That's what I was saying about how
Oh,
I
that's
treat
right.
women. Now that because of the damn recovery thing, I'm treating women right now. Not a bad thing. But you see what I'm saying? Now I know better.
You know why? Because you think you got to sacrifice something of value. This
But it's really
idea
not.
of sacrifice is huge in the mind of people.
Right. And
I
it's
got to
not.
give something up that has value. I got to stop gossiping. But I like to gossip. Why do we gossip? I think you're trying to connect with people, but you're connecting with them at an ugly
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
You could gossip nicely about people.
Lift
You
them
can
up.
talk nice.
Yeah.
We talk about each other all the time
You're right.
in meetings,
Lift
around
someone
meetings.
up.
Why don't you talk about what's good about the
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
instead of what's wrong with
Yeah.
them?
And you're not losing. I mean, we feel we're losing something by giving it up. But you're
You're
not.
superior. You're feeling superior.
Right. This
This-
is good stuff. This is good stuff.
This is not easy to look at, you know, but that's literally what that is. See, I just think it's such a big deal
I'm gonna-
that Bill is pulling the covers on the character defects. He's showing you just how destructive these things are. If you look honestly at them, you will never do it again without feeling bad.
because of the knowledge.
You
Did
always
you guys
felt
drive
bad.
separately?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if we want to wrap, we can wrap.
No, we got a little more here.
All right.
You guys can finish.
All right. Wait. Tell me what you're grateful for.
I'm grateful for well, one of the things I've been fearful about is not having enough money, and all of a sudden I'm getting jobs right and left. So I'm grateful for that. even though
Universe.
So I'm grateful for that.
Perfect.
And for you guys.
Thank you for coming and sharing. Any superpower, what would it be? If you could have any superpower, what's your superpower?
Read minds.
Mind reader?
Yeah.
By choice, though, right? Not just you walk in a room, you're hearing what Rick and me are thinking.
No, by choice.
All right.
Yeah, that would be a little too much.
Good luck on your test.
Okay, thank
You'll
you.
crush it. Just put your head down and study. You got it.
I'll see you tomorrow.
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 So, no, I think this stuff's real important. And you're I know, I don't know why I keep saying because now I know better, but it's the fact, for me, the fact of now I know. Now I know.
Remember what Bill wrote earlier on? He said, where the hell was it? Well, I'll come back to it. We have to be with patient improvement. We have to be okay with patient improvement because we're not willing to let these things go. Right?
Yep.
That's what he said. Patient improvement. Now, what does that look like? Okay, so now let's say I gossip with anger about people and I catch myself doing it now. Now, it still has value. It's got a lot of value. In fact, 75% of the time, I like that I feel superior to you as I pull the other guy down.
Right.
Okay, so now it's got 75% value and 25% pain because I'm aware of how ugly it is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I keep doing it. Well, as time goes and as you continue on, it'll become 50% pain and 50% value. Okay.
I see
You're
it.
making patient improvement. Then if you continue to examine what you're doing,
Yeah.
you'll see it. And one day you'll go, this just makes me feel bad. 75% of the time, it doesn't have any value now, but it's still got 25% value. That's patient improvement. That's how you grow through these things.
I like how you broke that down.
And there will come a time when you'll say, I don't want this shit
I've had
anymore
enough.
because it's killing me.
Right.
And then it's gone, just like booze was for me and drugs and the lifestyle. That's
that.
the way it plays. Okay.
Yep.
So patient improvement. Now we got when gluttony is less than ruinous. In other words, I'm eating myself into
Diabetes.
whatever, but it's less than ruinous, right?
Yeah.
We have a milder word for that too. We call it taking our comfort food. Oh, I do this. I think I'll be driving around working and I'm a little hungry and I know it's bad for me because there's a lot of stuff in it, seed oils and things like that. But I'll go buy some bakery thing or something. Yeah. And I know that I don't feel good even when I eat it.
Right.
But I do it anyway. Okay. Yeah.
I spent 7 years doing that.
I'm taking my comfort, if you will. Okay. It's comfort food. We live in a world riddled with envy. To a greater or less degree, everybody is infected with it. Envy. I want what that guy's got. I want his wife. I like his cars.
Mm-hmm.
I want his stuff, hers, whatever. Okay. To a greater or less degree, everybody is infected with it. From this defect, we must surely get a warped yet definite satisfaction. Else why would we consume such great amounts of time wishing for what we have not rather than working for it, or angrily looking for attributes we shall never have, instead of adjusting to the fact and accepting it? Yeah, I'm not the best looking guy in the world. Never going to be. Okay. Not the smartest guy, whatever the hell it is. Okay. Can't accept it. I got to prove to everybody, always trying to prove to people that I'm the smartest guy or whatever the hell it is. Oh, yeah. And all you do is you make an ass of yourself doing it, And how often we work hard with no better motive than to be secure and slothful later on. Only we call that retiring. Yeah, I'm going to work real hard. I'm going to get a pension. I'm going to work for the county. I'm going to work for the government. And then I want my damn pension. I'm going to sit on my ass
Yeah.
and usually not do much of anything for anybody else.
Right. Right.
Just sit there and die. Wait for death.
Wow.
That's retiring. He doesn't leave anybody out of this one. Consider too our talents for procrastination, which is really sloth in 5 syllables. Now, here's a point. Nearly anyone could submit a good list of such defects as these. Here it is. And few of us would seriously think of giving them up, at least until they cause us excessive misery.
And you just talked through that. Basically, it might start out, now we know, so it's only 20%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like how you read, truly you broke that down. It made complete sense for me. And it's probably happened more than a number of times in my recovery now without realizing that's slow progress, or how did he build work?
But it's progress.
Yeah. Yeah, but see,
You make a mistake. Oh, did it again. Okay. Well,
Rick, my problem was this. I was doing, I recognize the problem.
yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah, no, I know.
Got to change.
See, I'm over here saying,
Guilt.
see, I recognize.
Guilt without change is a cop out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll just be guilty. I'll hurt myself with the guilt because guilt looks for punishment,
Guilt without change is a cop out. I like that. That's perfectly worded.
Guilt without change is just a cop out. I'm not going to change. I'm going to continue to do it. I'll feel guilty, but that's okay. I'll punish myself with the guilt because I'm so bad.
And what am I going to do moving forward to change it? Nothing.
No, just going to be the same jerk,
I love having you on.
Some people, of course, may conclude that they are indeed ready to have all such defects taken from them. But even these people, if they construct a list of still milder defects, will be obliged to admit that they prefer to hang on to some of them. Therefore, it seems plain that few of us can quickly or easily become ready to aim at spiritual and moral perfection. Here's a big one now. We want to settle for only as much perfection as will get us by in life. We want to settle for only as much perfection as will get us by in life, according, of course, to our various and sundry ideas of what will get us by. Yeah, I only want enough of the program to
Right.
just stay sober. I ain't going to do anything else. I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to let go of my defects. I'm just going to get physical sobriety. That'll kill you
Basically,
eventually.
they're talking about dry drum. Basically, I set the bottle.
Or character defects. I mean,
and that's what we're talking about is character defects here. But yeah,
so the difference between the boys and the men is the difference between striving for a self-determined objective. What's a self-determined objective? Something that I want. A self-determined
okay.
objective, and for the perfect objective, which is of God. That's the difference between the men and the boys, is the difference between striving for a self-determined objective, what Rick wants, and for the perfect objective, which is of God, which would be giving. Love gives, selfishness takes. Many will at once ask, how can we accept the entire implication of step 6? Why, that is perfection. This sounds like a hard question, but practically speaking, it isn't. Only step 1, where we made the 100% admission we were powerless over alcohol, can be practiced with absolute perfection. The remaining 11 steps state perfect ideals. They are the goals toward which we look and the measuring sticks by which we estimate our progress. Seen in this light, step 6 is still difficult, but not at all impossible. The only urgent thing is that we make a beginning and keep trying.
Bill did such a good
The
job.
guy's brilliant
Yeah,
writer, man.
the
Just
more,
brilliant.
every time I hear this stuff again, the more I just and I don't know. He puts in such great wording.
He had a lot of good people around him, though, that helped him. If we would gain any real advantage in the use of this step on problems other than alcohol, we shall need to make a brand new venture into open-mindedness. Yeah. Are you even open to looking at this stuff? We shall need to raise our eyes toward perfection and be ready to walk in that direction. It will seldom matter how haltingly we walk. The only question will be, are we ready? Looking again at those defects, we are still unwilling to give up. We ought to erase the hard and fast lines that we have drawn. Perhaps we shall be obliged in some cases still to say, this I cannot give up yet. But we should not say to ourselves, this I will never give up. Let's dispose of what appears to be a hazardous open end we have left. It is suggested that we ought to become entirely willing to aim toward perfection. We note that some delay, however, might be pardoned. This is perfect now. That word in the mind of a rationalizing alcoholic could certainly be given a long-term meaning. He could say, you know, when I read this the first time, I thought, he knows exactly what the hell I'm thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
How-
many times.
He
yeah.
could say, how very easy. Sure, I'll head toward perfection, but I'm certainly not going to hurry any.
Mhm.
Maybe I can postpone dealing with some of my problems indefinitely. Of course, this won't do. Such a bluffing of oneself will have to go the way of many another pleasant rationalization. At the very least, we shall have to come to grips with some of our worst character defects and take action toward their removal as quickly as we can. The moment we say no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. Do you see that?
Right.
The moment we say no, never, our minds close against the grace of God, because the grace of God is what's going to remove it. Delay is dangerous, and rebellion may be fatal. Yeah, you might just drink over this crap.
Uh-huh.
This is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives, objectives for me, and move towards God's will for us, which
That's
is to
good.
help others.
That's the goal.
Brilliant.
I love. Yeah, no, he
Absolute-
words things.
Oh, it's just incredible, man.
And to think he's dealing with depression through them 11 years.
He was in depression when he wrote this.
He did a damn good job.
Tremendous mind.
Just pulling out of here and out of here and putting it into words that makes sense. And it's spot on. Like you said, many times I'm like, he knew me.
It's some of the
You know?
finest writing I've ever seen on this issue, man.
And you've read many a book. I know you
I've
have.
never seen anything as well done as this in terms of this sort of thing. Sigmund Freud was really brilliant with ego stuff. He understood the ego really well.
Yeah. This is good.
And Bill, you know, that was what was influencing the times in the 30s, you know, with Sigmund Freud. He understood the dynamics of the ego. He put it in very psychological terms. And
See, I tried reading some of this. I just
Oh,
couldn't.
well.
It's hot, long, not long-winded, but very.
well, he
You have
uses
to-
things.
the words, and they're just.
There, yeah,
It's.
he-
I don't want
he
to say
was
very
brilliant.
educated. It's just. It's higher echelon reading. I don't know how to word it for myself. His stuff I did better listening to on some of the Audible stuff. Just the comprehending of a lot of the terminology.
Well, he was a bright mind, and he was influencing the times, you know.
He was ahead of his times. That's why, yeah, influencing him. Well, Rick, we were going to wrap it up early, anyways, weren't we?
Yeah. Well,
Anything you want to add to step 6 stuff to anyone out there listening?
I think you just have to be patient with yourself, but the awareness is significant.
Right.
Because as you become aware of this stuff, you will start to change. You don't have to force yourself to change. Don't try and give something up before you're ready. It's like trying to quit drinking before you're sick of yourself.
Right.
You can't do, all you do is you fight with
I
yourself.
like how you tied this together. You're right.
You're fighting with yourself. This idea of sacrifice is huge in our minds. Just be open to the awareness of this stuff. The awareness itself will start to work on you because your mind naturally wants to love. And to get it to do these things that are harmful and hateful, your mind, your loving mind won't tolerate it. It will move toward growth,
Right.
not deeper into the crap.
Well, as always, I want to hear about your gratitude real quick.
I'm really grateful for the opportunities to do 12-step work. You know,
No.
I had opportunities to speak and put on workshops and things like that. And I'm doing a lot of it these days, you know. I'd like to do more stuff like the workshop on this stuff.
I think we
know.
need more of it.
Yeah.
I do. You hear about a lot of step meetings, and they're talking about the 12 steps. You don't hear much about tradition meetings.
Well, I've got a connection down in Louisiana area with some people down there, and I've been down there to speak a number of times. I've done 4-step workshops down there, and I wouldn't mind maybe doing something like this down there with those guys because they're working
Down South Louisiana?
Yeah. I'm going down there in September for a conference. So.
Got any trips planned yet on the bike? You
No,
doing anything this
I haven't
summer?
really
Yeah.
got anything planned. I don't
I was
know.
thinking mid to late September, but I just starts getting chilly back here. But I'm gonna probably, I don't know, Colorado. I haven't been to Colorado yet. I don't know about my Montana maybe next year, but I want to go to Glacier.
I'd do it in the summer, man, when it's hot, you know.
That means in the next month, within
Yeah.
the next month, and I just don't. That motorcycle accident really set me back.
Colorado's got a conference called Crested Butte Mountain Conference. That'd be a good one to go out to.
Romney's talked to me about that. He goes,
It's a great conference.
someone just gifted him a damn brand new trike.
It was going this week.
Yeah, he's down there. Matter of fact, he just messaged me.
It was
He's
their
down
40th anniversary. I've been to many times. I've never spoke out there, but I've been to the conference many times. It's a great. I think it's during the week. It's Monday through Friday, so you got the weekend to travel. Bunch of
That's
Texans
nice.
put it on.
Oh yeah,
Been going for 40 years. It's their anniversary this year.
yeah. I think he's down there now. He messaged me. I think he flew down to pick back up his bike. Someone gave him a trike last week. Who knows? I don't know. All right. Well, everyone out there, you just heard a bunch about step and tradition 6. A lot of tradition 6 out of the 12 and 12. Get connected. Get on down to 2218 First Avenue South on Wednesdays at 6:30. It's in Minneapolis, South Minneapolis. They do the 4-step workshop. Rick and Jesse and Misty, they do a great job. Doesn't matter where they're at in the multi-week.
We started over. We
Workshop,
go back. We go through it after about 6, 7, 8 weeks.
Full loop. Show up.
He's looping back.
Go down there, get connected. You heard Rick talk about it. Like that changed for him. He wanted to get connected. You heard. Rewind the show if you tuned in late, but you'll hear about how this step was where he basically started at in his recovery. I'm at Will Work for Recovery, 4026 Washington Avenue North. We've got things going on here all the time. Wednesdays, there's a men's and a women's meeting at 5 p.m. And then every evening at 7 p.m., there's a really great meeting that goes on here. Saturdays, the walk and talk. On Tuesdays, we have something called the Wellbriety meeting. It's a native-based meeting. Tonight, it was a call-up meeting. You walk in, you get a ticket. They call your number. You stand up. Let us know what's been keeping you clean and sober. There's Monday nights, a spiritual night. We have Star and her mom come in here, and there's spiritual advisors. We've got tons of things. Sunday, 1 p.m. ish. Come on down, get some barbecue. $3. You can't beat it nowadays. You get a burger, all beef dog. It's good. Matt's grilling. 1 p.m. meetings every day here. On the 9th of August, we've got an event. It's called the Blast from the Past 80s Bash. That's a dress contest. It's limbos, and we got karaoke. We got DJ. We're doing minnow races, a campfire meeting. It's a night of fun. It's a great evening of fun with 50-50 raffles, donations coming in, all sorts of good stuff. Come on down, get involved, get connected. If you are struggling, please reach out. And everyone out there, we love you. Have a great week ahead. Next week, we've got a fellow by the name of Dave from Black Sheep Ministries coming on. It's a big anticipated show. Check us out next Friday. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Black Sheep Ministries. Gosh, I hope I'm saying that right. But either way, check out next Friday and you'll see. Bye, Z's.